35% of digital photos taken today will never see the light of the internet. What if I told you that the people keeping their camera rolls entirely private are actually the ones holding all the power? You take a picture of your morning coffee or a sunset, and then you just lock your phone. You do not upload it. You do not run it through 7 different editing apps. You just look at it and move on with your day. Society tells you that this is weird. People ask why you are hiding or what you are so afraid of. They assume you lack confidence or that your life is just too boring to document. We have normalized this bizarre daily performance where every single breath has to be commodified into content. But you chose to step off that stage. You are looking around at everyone frantically curating their existence and wondering why you do not feel the urge to participate. You might think there is a glitch in your wiring. You might wonder if you are just antisocial. But your silence is not a void. It is a highly calibrated psychological response to a world that will not stop screaming. Chapter 1. The Illusion. Society operates on a fundamental misunderstanding about visibility. The modern assumption is that if a person is not posting, they are either deeply insecure or profoundly lonely. People look at a blank profile grid and assume it belongs to a shadow. But this surface-level behavior is actually masking a profound psychological divergence. The individuals who choose not to share are not hiding from the world. They are simply refusing to participate in a manufactured digital economy. Psychologists note that the urge to broadcast oneself is often linked to a deficit in internal validation. When people do not post their photos, they are demonstrating a self-contained ego. They do not require a chorus of strangers to confirm that their weekend was enjoyable. They already know it was. The illusion is that silence equals absence. In reality, their refusal to post is an active, deliberate choice, are scrolling through the exact same feeds as everyone else, observing the endless performance, and actively deciding that the return on investment is not worth their peace. They watch others trade privacy for fleeting attention, recognizing the transaction for what it is. The world views them as lurkers or wallflowers, but they are actually the most secure individuals in the digital room. They hold their memories as personal artifacts rather than public commodities. By refusing to play the game, they expose the absurdity of the rules. But to truly understand why they opt out, we have to look beneath the social surface and examine the neurochemical trap they are avoiding. Chapter 2. The Biology of the Trap. The internet is not just a network of computers. It is a massive decentralized slot machine built to hack the human nervous system. Every time a person uploads a photo, they are pulling the lever. The notification icon acts as the unpredictable payout, triggering a rush of dopamine identical to the spike seen in gambling addicts. But the people who refuse to upload their photos have instinctively recognized this biological manipulation. They might not know the exact neuroscientific terminology, but their bodies understand the danger. They feel the anxiety that comes with checking a screen 50 times an hour, and they simply reject the premise. By keeping their photos private, they are protecting their dopamine baseline from being hijacked by an algorithm. They understand that outsourcing their brain chemistry to a tech company is a dangerous gamble. When someone ties their emotional stability to an unpredictable digital reward system, they become completely dependent on external input. The non-posters have bypassed this entirely. They experience the joy of a moment when it happens, and then the neurochemical process concludes naturally. There is no synthetic extension of the experience. There is no anxious waiting period. They have effectively inoculated themselves against the most pervasive behavioral addiction of the 21st century. Their brain remains their own property. They are not exchanging their psychological stability for digital metrics. But staying outside of this loop does not come without a tax, and the friction of living out of sync with society inevitably takes its toll. Chapter 3. The Hidden Cost. Living as a digital ghost in an era of hypervisibility comes with a unique set of social penalties. The people who hoard their photos often face a quiet, persistent alienation. Because modern friendships are primarily maintained through casual digital updates, opting out of this ecosystem means they slowly become invisible to their peripheral social circles. If they do not broadcast their milestones, people assume nothing is happening in their lives. They miss out on the effortless micro-connections that bind modern networks together. Friends stop reaching out because their lack of digital presence is misread as a lack of interest in human connection. Furthermore, they constantly have to defend their choice. Every time they attend a gathering, someone demands to know why they never post anything. They are forced to articulate a complex psychological boundary at a casual dinner party, which is exhausting. The cost of protecting their peace is perpetual misunderstanding. People view them with suspicion, as if a lack of a digital footprint is evidence of a secret, sinister life. They are carrying the heavy burden of being intentionally unperceived in a culture that worships exposure. This creates a subtle but pervasive friction in their daily interactions. They have to work 10 times harder to maintain relationships because they refuse to use the automated tools everyone else relies on. They are choosing the harder path, trading convenience and superficial connection for authenticity. To understand why they are willing to pay this steep price, we have to trace this behavior back to where the foundation of their boundaries was first laid. Chapter 4. The Origin. This need for digital privacy did not materialize out of nowhere when you bought your first smartphone. It has roots buried deep in how you were taught to view your own worth. Somewhere along the line, you learned a very specific lesson about the dangers of being perceived. Maybe you grew up in an environment where your achievements and your image were constantly monitored and critiqued. You learned early on that whenever you made yourself visible, you opened yourself up to judgment, unrealistic expectations, or disappointment. Sharing aspects of your life did not feel like connection. It felt like handing ammunition to people who would use it against you. So you developed a mechanism for survival. You realized that what people cannot see, they cannot ruin. You started holding your most precious moments close to your chest because the external world had proven itself to be unsafe. Your reluctance to post a simple photo is actually a highly evolved defense mechanism. It is the culmination of years spent realizing that visibility equates to vulnerability, and vulnerability was an expense you could no longer afford. You decided that your image and your experiences belonged exclusively to you. You stopped seeking validation because you learned that the validation was always conditional anyway. The origin of your digital silence is not a lack of technological literacy. It is a deeply ingrained protective instinct. You are guarding your internal world with the same vigilance you learn to apply to your physical reality. Chapter 5. The Learned Pattern. Once that defensive foundation was established, you began to apply it systematically to every area of your life. You started to notice a pattern in how the world consumed information, and you wanted no part of it. You watched your peers document their lives, carefully curating their joy to extract maximum approval from mere acquaintances. You saw the frantic, desperate energy behind the perfect smiles and the filtered sunsets. And you learned to associate public sharing with a profound emptiness. Your brain wired a new connection, linking online visibility with inauthenticity. You recognize that the moment an experience is packaged for an audience, it loses its original meaning. So you developed a pattern of withholding. You take a photo with your friends, capture the exact feeling of the room, and then you intentionally break the cycle. You stop your thumb from hitting the share button. That tiny pause is a massive psychological rebellion. You are actively unlearning the societal mandate that says a moment only matters if it is witnessed by a crowd. You are teaching your nervous system that you are allowed to exist purely for yourself. This pattern of holding back is not rooted in fear anymore. It has evolved into a conscious, disciplined practice. You are hoarding reality. While everyone else is busy exporting their lives into the digital void, you are keeping yours firmly anchored in the physical world. You are building a life that is entirely immune to the fluctuating opinions of the internet. Chapter 6. The Architecture of Protection. What you have built over the years is not just a habit of swiping past the upload screen. You have constructed an invisible, impenetrable fortress around your identity. Think about the structural integrity of your decision. Every time you refuse to post a photo, you are reinforcing a load-bearing wall in your psyche. You are ensuring that your self-esteem remains a closed circuit, completely disconnected from the chaotic grid of public opinion. This architecture is incredibly sophisticated. It protects you from the comparison trap that is currently destroying the mental health of an entire generation. Because you do not put your behind-the-scenes reality up against someone else's highlight reel, you stay grounded. You are not constantly evaluating your worth based on an algorithm's distribution of your face. You have fortified your boundaries to the point where external validation simply cannot reach you. Your private camera roll is a sanctuary, a vault where your memories are preserved exactly as they happened, free from the contamination of public commentary. You built this structure because you understood that peace of mind requires strict perimeter control. You are acting as the sole architect of your reality, refusing to let crowdsourced opinions dictate the value of your experiences. The silence you maintain online is the thickest armor you possess. It insulates you from the noise, the performance, and the crushing weight of modern expectations. You designed a safe room in a world that demands open doors. Chapter 7. The Refrain. It is time to completely dismantle the narrative that you are missing out. The people who urge you to post more, who tell you that you are fading into obscurity, have the entire situation backwards. Your choice to keep your photos offline is not an act of submission. It is an exertion of absolute dominance over your own narrative. You need to reframe your silence from a social deficit into a massive psychological asset. You are not a spectator who is too afraid to step onto the playing field. You are the person who realized the game is rigged and walked out of the stadium. Think about the incredible emotional discipline it takes to capture a beautiful moment and keep it entirely to yourself. That takes a level of self-assurance that most people spend their entire lives trying to achieve. You are proving, day after day, that you do not need an audience to validate your existence. Your life is not a performance piece. By keeping your images private, you are retaining 100% of the equity in your own experiences. You are not giving away pieces of yourself for free to an indifferent digital crowd. Your lack of a digital footprint is the ultimate power move. It shows that you value your reality far more than you value anyone else's perception of your reality. You have successfully separated your identity from your digital avatar, a feat of modern psychological brilliance. Chapter 8. The Hidden Strength. Look at the specific advantages this privacy gives you. Your hidden strength lies in your capacity for deep, undivided presence. Because you are not scanning your environment for the optimal lighting or the perfect angle to broadcast to your followers. You are actually living the experience. Your brain is encoding memories based on the smell of the air, the sound of the room, and the genuine emotion of the moment rather than the framing of a lens. This profound presence makes you an incredibly grounded individual. While others are fragmented, split between the physical moment and the digital anticipation of likes, you are entirely whole. You have cultivated a resilience that borders on superhuman in today's climate. You do not experience the devastating crash that follows a poorly received post. You are immune to the anxiety of a silent notification screen. Your emotional state is tethered to reality, not to a fluctuating metric of internet points. This is a tremendous psychological advantage. You operate with a clear, uncluttered mind, free from the constant draining background noise of digital maintenance. Your strength is your unwavering autonomy. You have reclaimed your attention span, directing it inward and toward the people physically standing in front of you. In a society that is desperately starved for genuine attention, your ability to be fully present without documenting it is a rare and highly valuable trait. You are practicing the ultimate form of modern rebellion. Chapter 9. The Power Reclaimed. When you fully embrace this mindset, something incredible happens. You realize you have taken back the keys to your own life. The power you reclaimed is the authority to define what is meaningful on your own terms. You no longer subscribe to the absurd metric that says an unshared photo is a wasted opportunity. Every picture sitting quietly on your phone is a testament to your sovereignty. You have built a rich, private universe that belongs only to you and the select few you invite into it physically. This exclusivity makes your life immensely valuable. You have stripped away the performative layer of your existence, leaving only what is real, raw, and authentically yours. You have defeated the algorithm by simply refusing to feed it. You are no longer a data point or a demographic to be analyzed and monetized. You are a sovereign human being existing entirely off the digital grid of judgment. The peace that washes over you when you realize you do not owe the internet an explanation, a photo, or an update is profound. You have reclaimed your energy, redirecting all the mental bandwidth you used to spend worrying about perception into actually building your life. You have mastered the art of living quietly, loudly. Your silence is a fortress of self-respect. You have won the ultimate modern victory by proving that a life completely undocumented is a life completely owned. Chapter 10. The Absolution. You need to hear this clearly and believe it entirely. There is nothing wrong with you. Your refusal to curate a digital museum of your life is not a symptom of depression, anxiety, or social failure. You are not broken for wanting to keep your memories to yourself. You are simply exhausted by a world that demands constant, breathless performance, and you had the intelligence to hit the pause button. The guilt you sometimes feel when people pressure you to be more visible is a conditioned response, not a genuine moral failing. You are adapting to a hyper-connected environment in the healthiest way possible by establishing an unbreachable boundary. Honor the instinct that tells you to put your phone in your pocket. Respect the quiet dignity of a life lived primarily in the physical world. Your unposted photos are not secrets you are hiding. They are treasures you are preserving. You are allowed to be a private person in an era of terrifying overexposure. You are allowed to take up space in the real world while leaving zero trace on the digital one. The truest measure of your confidence is your comfort in being unseen by the masses. You have found peace in the quiet, and that is a triumph, not a tragedy. Continue to live your life entirely for yourself. The world does not need another photo, but you absolutely need your peace. Rest easy knowing you have mastered the hardest lesson of all. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.